What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. As always, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and follow on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. When you're done with that, share it with a friend, give us a little bit of a like, maybe leave a comment. Whatever suits your fancy, it helps us out, and it is very much appreciated. Today's positive motivational message is be charitable. It is the giving season. We are officially in the month of December, holiday season, Christmas right around the corner. And if that's not enough to put you in a giving mood, into a charitable mood, then let this be the thing that helps motivate you into doing that. Not only, and when I say charity, when I say be charitable, I don't necessarily mean like monetarily or like be giving gifts or whatnot like that. Yes, that's great. That's good. We can do that too. Help the hungry, help the poor, just help out people. Be helpful, be kind. You can also be charitable with your time. Whether that's volunteering your time or just having a conversation with somebody. If somebody strikes up a conversation with you and wants to be a part of your life for that little bit of a moment, allow your time, be charitable with your time and offer it up to somebody who might need to talk to you or might just want to have a friendly conversation. Things of that nature. Help a stranger load in their groceries. Let somebody pass you in line if they, it's the small things. It literally is the small things, especially this time of year. It's just nice to be nice, and it's good to be charitable to others. And hopefully, once you offer that to somebody, then they will in turn take that and do the same for others. So we just spread that joy. It's the time of joy. Let's spread that joy. With that, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. It's episode, I think, 272 of Life's a Garden. So close. 271. I knew it was right around there. I knew we just did 270, but of course that's my own fault for dragging these episodes out for the time in between. But we had Thanksgiving last weekend. I was enjoying my 4-day weekend, the holiday weekend. Hope you all had a great holiday weekend as well. But I certainly had the time to do the podcast last weekend, but I was enjoying my holiday weekend. What can I say? And here we are doing it right here, right now, which is all good. Hope everybody's Thanksgiving was great. Mine was awesome. Got to had the family. We went to my sister's house. Let me just say, of all the Thanksgivings, at least in recent memory, and this is no knock on the previous Thanksgivings we've had, this year, I would have to say, was one of the best as far as food quality. Like, I'm talking every little thing that we had on our plates was chef's kiss. The turkey was moist. The taters were chunky, which I like a chunky tater. I'm not even a huge stuffing guy, and I was snarfing stuffing. My brother made some mac and cheese that was bomb as hell. I was in charge of the pie, which is so easy. But I went and got a Costco pumpkin pie, which are just the best. So everything we had was just top tier. And I can't necessarily say that about every single Thanksgiving we've had. Now, don't get me wrong. Most of the time, everything is great. But I think this year just topped most of them, as far as every single item being incredible. Had a great holiday weekend. Cat Grizz, was that over that weekend? No, that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Great game, Cat Grizz. Unfortunately, the Grizz came up short, but congratulations to the Cats. It was a phenomenal game to watch. See, that's how far off I am on doing the podcast. Is I think last week I did talk about the Cat Grizz game, but I'm so far off on all this shit that it's hard for me to tell. Been getting ready for Christmas now. Obviously, as you can see in the background, I got my little Broncos tree up and some of the stockings here behind me. Haven't gotten my big Christmas tree up just yet. The big Christmas tree usually goes on over here. Planning on doing that over the weekend. And then been doing some holiday shopping, Christmas shopping. Little by little, checking the things off the list for all my friends and family, which can both be fun and stressful at the same time because you're just pumping out money and also you're like trying to get people the right thing that they want and you don't want to skimp out. You want to get quality shit. So it's like the online thing. Okay, let me tell you this. As convenient as it is to shop online, and it is the best. You can just be laying in bed and just knocking out Christmas items, Christmas gifts. It is extremely stressful, like waiting for your package to arrive and hoping that it actually does arrive. Timing is one part where it's like, well, I ordered this 2 weeks ago. Where the hell is it? Why isn't it here? And then half the time, you don't even know if it's going to get delivered at all. Maybe it got lost in transition. Maybe it got delivered to the wrong address. Maybe a porch pirate decided to fucking come along and swipe it. Just the other night, I had a package delivered. I was waiting all day. Got to be around, it was around 3 o'clock that I left the house, which I knew was kind of a dicey time because it could still be delivered, I think, as late as 6 or 7. So I knew it's because, you get those alerts and it says your package will be arriving today. And so I'm out. I'd been out for a couple hours and sure as shit, I get a message. Your package has been delivered. And I have a Ring camera. Well, my Ring camera never went off. And I'm like going on there and looking and zooming into my porch and I cannot see a package. And this package should be, fairly decent size where I could see it. So I'm freaking out. I'm wondering, did this thing even get delivered? Did it get, like I said, delivered to the wrong house? I do have another camera in my carport where I park my truck, but the batteries are low, so I can't go. It doesn't alert me. Like it still work. I can look at the live feed, but I can't. It won't alert me or something like that. Maybe I can't even look at the live feed. So because I thought maybe they put it in there, but I had no way of knowing. So all night I'm like, God, I hope that package got delivered because it was an expensive, a more expensive gift that I didn't want to have to reorder or have to try and put in a claim on. Come home, pull up in the driveway. What do I see? Nice big package sitting right there in my carport. So shout out to Amazon. Shout out to the delivery driver who was kind enough to put that in there away from visibility where somebody might be able to swipe it. Kudos to you, whoever you are. Did a great job. And so, but yeah, the online shopping thing I think is actually somewhat more stressful than going out and shopping. And to an extent, I kind of like the box store shopping. I like, driving from store to store. And, don't get me wrong, I'm not a big people, at least in that scenario. I am a big people person. I love people. I like talking to people and whatnot. But that's a kind of a different scenario. It can be a little stressful when there's so many people hustle and bustle, walking around, doing all the shopping and whatnot. But it's also kind of exciting. It's a little fun. It's a little dangerous. You know what I mean? Like you get a little bit on your toes when you're in that situation. And it's cool to the hunt. It's the hunt for the item. You know what you're looking for. Maybe this store doesn't have it. Now I got to go check at this store, which to an extent can be annoying as well. I would say it's more annoying on just an average day. But when you set out, when your goal is, I am going Christmas shopping, I am going to search for these certain items, and these are the stores I'm going to. It's a little bit less annoying when you don't find exactly what you're looking for. I get more annoyed when I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the grocery store, or I'm going to go to Target to get this specific item that I need for whatever. And then I can't find it. And now I'm like, fuck. This was supposed to just be a in and out trip. Now I got to go find it somewhere else. That's annoying. When you are already dedicating a block of time to do the shopping, it's kind of fun, I will say. And that's kind of not my MO usually. I'm not a big shopper, but like over the last couple weeks, I've gone, like I went out to Scheels a few weeks ago, and I went to, where else did I go? I don't remember the other, but anyway, I've been to a couple of places, and I forgot. I was like, damn, I haven't been here in a long time. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff, and it's kind of fun to like window shop and kind of look at a few things and be like, oh, I kind of like that for myself. I'm not going to be buying myself anything anytime soon because it is Christmas. And in the past, I have had a bad reputation of buying myself stuff before Christmas, and my family gets very mad at me. But either way, I got a little bit of a refresher in shopping. And I kind of miss it. Like, it's kind of nice every now and again. Every weekend, every other, no. But once in a blue moon, it is kind of nice to go out and walk around and be in that setting. So that's something I've been doing over the last couple weeks. Still got plenty more stuff I got to get, which is, we're knocking them out. We're getting them checked off the list. So slowly but surely. You don't want to get them all done at once, because then half the time I end up thinking of things later on that I was like, oh shit, why didn't I think of that before? But I already got them a present. So I'm either going to get this person multiple presents, or wait till next year. Or I'll have to give my great idea to somebody else. Like, hey, I just thought of this. Why don't you get them that? And then they get all the fucking praise. I don't like that. Oh, quick reminder for everybody. This Sunday what would that be? 7th. Sunday, December 7th, is the annual toy run that the Road Dogs put on every year. Shout out to my father, who I always did that with. It was his favorite thing to do with the Road Dogs. This Sunday. Sorry, I was getting a little dry in the throat area. I had to refresh there. Toy run. They go from the fire station down on the north side, all the way up Broadwater, all the way up Broadwater to the mall. Okay? Every single year, people get caught up in traffic and are impatient. So if you happen to get stuck in traffic for the toy run, be patient. It'll only be 10-15 minutes at most. Enjoy the charity that is being bestowed upon our community by these awesome riders. Just be thankful. But if you're wanting to avoid it, I understand. Just forewarning all of y'all out there, it is the toy run this weekend, so don't get mad when you get caught in traffic, because I tried to warn you. But anyway, if you'd like to donate any toys, you can go down to the fire station on the north side. I think it's fire station number 1. I don't remember the exact number. It's right down kind of by Dealer Park. It's not far from Dealer Park, so you can just look it up. But yeah, just if you want to donate any toys for that, you can go down there. They leave at noon, so if you want to do the toys, take them down there before noon, or you can meet everybody up at the Rimrock Mall around 12. It'd be about 12:30. They're gonna get there. So, yes, if you're looking to donate, that would be awesome. I'm planning on I'm probably gonna ride the float. I'm either gonna ride in the float or I'll just take my truck and ride behind everybody. I'm not quite sure yet what I want to do, but I will be joining those guys down there, which will be awesome. I haven't done it in a few years because the last couple years, I think last year it might have been really cold or icy. I don't remember exactly. But the 2 years previous, this would probably be the first time I've been involved in this in like 4 years now. Because the 2 years prior, they weren't blocking the streets. Like, they weren't allowing the bikers to ride up and block the streets. And so people were just like cutting in, and it becomes very dangerous. And it's also just like, what are you doing? You know, people just, it's insufferable. So it's nice when we can get the bikers to block the roads. And for a couple years there, they weren't allowed to do that. The cops could only block so many streets, but then the bikes have to like block a lot of the through streets, and it's very helpful. And so it just kind of became super chaotic, especially like with red lights and whatnot. Like if you see the blockade, you're not gonna, it doesn't matter if the light's green or red. It's just helpful for everybody. So I don't know. It was kind of chaotic the previous years when that was the case. So I'm glad that they're not doing that. They're able to do that again. So now I'm actually like stoked to ride I don't ride, but to be involved this year again. But yes, just a public announcement, public service announcement. Oh, and same with 24th Street. Broadwater, 24th, from Broadwater to 24th, to the mall. Just be prepared for some slow down traffic, okay? It's okay, everything's all good. We're doing it all for the kids. It's charity. So quit bitching about it and just be thankful for the community efforts here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, another little thing that I did get my Christmas lights up on my house. I did that the day it started snowing. Thank God, because if I hadn't done it that morning, they wouldn't be up at all until maybe this weekend. Which is, I guess it's supposed to snow again this weekend, which sucks. But I'm just glad I got the little bit that I did. It looks actually very nice with the subtle look. Because usually I kind of go a little bit balls to the wall, and it might end up looking a little too much. But I kind of like the way it looks right now. I still might do my big tree out front. I haven't decided yet. Maybe that's the one I'll do this weekend. But for now, I like the lights. It brightens up the it's nice for the neighborhood. I think it's nice to have a little bit of lights for the neighborhood. Nobody else in my neighborhood decorates, so my neighbors before actually would decorate, but they just moved away. I have a new set of neighbors now here on my other side of me, so which is just crazy because I've lived in this house for going on 9 years now. Would have to be because I've worked at Toyota for 8 years and I didn't work at Toyota when I moved here. So I've probably lived in this house going on 9 years now, which is just wild. The even more wild thing is it looks pretty much the same as it did when I first moved here. Like this right here, my TV stand has been the same TV stand since I moved here. And it has never moved from this spot. It has always been right here. I'm very much opposed to like reorganizing my home. And I don't have a lot of space to reorganize in the first place. But anyway, yeah. 9 years I've lived here. And in those 9 years, between the two neighbors I have on my left and on my right, I am on my 7th set of neighbors. 4 in the one, and now 3 in the other. Luckily, so I haven't actually introduced myself to these neighbors yet. I'm kind of letting them get their stuff moved in and get settled in. And eventually, I just haven't also passed by them. Like, we haven't crossed paths as I'm leaving and they're as we're coming and going. Like, I haven't really crossed paths in order to like actually introduce myself. But eventually I will, go over there and introduce myself. Again, just trying to let them have some time to settle in. But I'm hoping that they're nice, because every neighbor I've had since I've lived here has been extremely nice and pleasant to live next to. So hopefully that's the case in this scenario. Of those 7 neighbors that I've had, okay, only 2 of them, one in the one house and one in the other, have been a younger couple. A couple like close to my age. Everybody else is quite elderly. And unfortunately, the reason I keep cycling through so many of these neighbors, not to be grim, they have passed away. And that is why their homes become available. And that has been like the majority of the reason why. And then the younger couples, they like to just move up into something a little bit, they're moving into something bigger and better. And I don't do that because I'm a single guy that lives alone. But so now, and the new neighbors are also elderly. So I'm just surrounded by elderly people whenever for the majority of my time living here. I have been surrounded by elderly people, which in a way it is nice. I'll say this. It's nice because it's not, you're not getting kids partying in the houses next to you. They're not, they're typically very respectful and keep to themselves for the most part. And it's nice because, like, if you think about it, I'm kind of the alpha when it comes to the neighbors, right? Like, I'm the young buck. I kind of run the block a little bit. Like, nobody's gonna fuck with me right here. The nice thing about having senior neighbors is, if push came to shove, I could whoop some ass. Just saying. I got youth on my side. Not that I'm kidding, obviously. I would never even remotely think of that. But, yeah, I'm the young buck. And I should probably just retract that statement, because lately, I haven't been feeling all too young, okay? My age is beginning to show, as a matter of fact. Just aches and pains and little things here and there. Like, I'm pretty certain I have plantar fasciitis in my left foot. Like, my heel has been, for the last couple months, it gets sore to the point where I literally had to go buy, this is one thing I bought at Shields, with some brand new work boots, and I bought some of those, like, the insoles that would help alleviate the pain on my heel, which, by the way, has been working, so not a bad purchase. But the fact that I even had to buy them in the first place, I'm like, this is it. I'm falling apart, falling to pieces. And now that I have the new insoles, my calf has been hurting because I'm using different muscles. Because it's kind of a raised thing, or it's like in the arch of it's supposed to like bend the arch of your foot to alleviate pressure on your heel, something like that. But so now I'm using different muscles, or my legs or my feet are being positioned differently. So then my ankle and my calf start hurting. I wake up and I have fucking back pain. What else? I know there's other physical ailments that I've been dealing with. My shoulder's always hit or miss on whether it's sore or not. My knees have been hurting a little bit more. I had like a sciatica thing for a while, but I haven't had to deal with that in a while, which is nice. I wake up in the morning and I'm all phlegmy most of the time. That's probably mostly due to weather, but like the change in the weather. Yeah, it's just here I am trying to brag about my youth with my elderly neighbors when I'm not so sure that's the case currently. I think maybe I am following suit. I am also an elderly neighbor at this point. But yeah, so physical ailments. Speaking of getting old, I'll say this. I just saw a very interesting, I guess not a meme, but like an image or like a quote on Facebook or Instagram, one of those, just the other day, that really struck a chord. Like it really hit home, right? And this is what it was. It read, millennials are the only generation who grew up at the greatest time to be a child and the worst time to be an adult. And I sat and I thought about that because technically, I am a millennial. Not technically, I am a millennial. I was 1993. I think the cutoff for a millennial is 96, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 96 or 97, somewhere in there. So I'm right in there as a millennial. Best time to be a child, worst time to be an adult. And I thought about that. You know, like I'm thinking about the previous generations. Now, you can't really say a whole lot about the current generations, like the generations younger, because I don't know that I wouldn't necessarily say they grew up at the best time to be a child. I think they probably grew up at a pretty shitty time to be a child for the most part. And we don't know quite yet about the adult side. You know what I'm saying? And that's not even the point. The point isn't like, I mean, yeah, you could grow up at two bad times. The point is, we got to grow up at the best time as a kid and the worst time as an adult. If you think back to like, I'm sure like the 70s were pretty cool to grow up in. I'm sure like the 80s were pretty cool to grow up in. But also the 70s and 80s were probably pretty cool to be an adult in, right? I feel like that's great music, great pop culture. You know, I guess in the 70s you kind of had like the Vietnam stuff going on. And war and personal conflict kind of engulf all generations, so I'm not even going to use that. Because, you know, growing up we had the war on terror and all that. But I think, that shit aside, it was just a nice time. It was peaceful time for the most part. Obviously, you had, there's always shitty parts of it, but I think those times, especially as an adult, like think about it. Think about being, like if you were an adult in the 80s or the 90s, fuck, you could buy a home for $200,000, like a nice ass home for $200,000. Now, I couldn't get a 4-bedroom for less than $500,000. No chance. I could probably barely get a 3-bedroom for less than $500,000. In a good neighborhood? Fuck off. You know? It's like, I don't know. It just felt like, it feels like prices were just where they, wages to prices variation were good. The economy was pretty good. Entertainment was great. Pop culture was at some of its best in the 80s and 90s. So yeah, being an adult would have been great. Even the early 2000s would have been a fine time to be an adult. Right now, it fucking sucks, dude. It sucks. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. I'm not gonna fucking beat around, like, I'm not gonna church it up. It sucks to be an adult right now. Like, this is just, everything is so just depressive and negative, and social media fucking blows. The internet has just fucked us royally. Everybody as a society. Fucking society sucks. Political shit sucks. Media and music fucking sucks hard most of the time. I'm talking mainstream, right? You know, I'm in a local band. Local music rules. But mainstream shit sucks. Pop culture is trash. All of it. And since I've seen that quote, I keep seeing these videos pop up that are like 90s nostalgia. It's like 90s and early 2000s nostalgia clips and videos. And let me just say, they strike me in a way that I just can't explain. Like, I get kind of emotional when I see that stuff. Now, I don't know if that's just because everybody feels that way when they look back at their, things that were around in their childhood and you start getting nostalgic. That just might be the case, is that anybody who reminisces and sees things from their past feel that way. But I truly believe I don't just feel that way because those were things from my childhood. I think it's because you realize how good it was and how great we had it. And I don't even think it's deniable to say that the 90s and early 2000s were 1,000 times better than the 2010s to now. It's not even debatable. You see things like, think about the music of those eras. You got like Nirvana and Korn and, the new metal wave, Limp Bizkit. You had like the grunge era in the 90s. Incredible music. And say what you want about the style and the fashion. You had the baggy clothes, you had the beanies, you're rocking tap out stuff or like etnies and skater brand stuff. It was awesome. I don't care how goofy it looks now. It was great. Go watch 90s and early 2000s commercials. They're the wildest things you've ever seen. Think about like just advertising in general. Think about like logos, Hot Topic, Cherry Coke, like just the craziness and like the way things were designed were just top notch. You go to the 90s, you have everything's like pastel colors. You go to the early 2000s, everything's like very, teenage angst type lettering or graphics and things like that. You look at today, everything's blocks and bland. They're gray and brown. Everything is just so like they've sucked the life out of everything. I've had this conversation before. When you look at like a McDonald's from the 2000s to a McDonald's now, it's like the McDonald's grew up with us. Taco Bell. You just look at a retro Taco Bell on the inside to now. How do you not feel something? Television. Think cartoons back then, bro. Growing up, we not only got the great cartoons from the 80s and beyond, like Looney Tunes and Fred Flintstone and all that stuff, Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo. You had the stuff current that we got then, like SpongeBob, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Powerpuff Girls, Courage the Cowardly Dog, all those awesome cartoons. I look at cartoons today and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this brain rot? Even the children's cartoons. Dude, we had Blue's Clues. We had Dora the Explorer. Not really my thing, I'm just going off the dome here. But Blue's Clues was the shit. You know what I'm saying? We had stuff like that. Now it's fucking what's the thing now? I can hear the fucking song in my head. You got Paw Patrol and actually Paw Patrol. I feel like that's not so bad. What's the one with the oh, I can hear it. Oh, I can't. Coco Melon. That's the one. Coco Melon and the one with the Peppa Pig. These are weird. These are weird, creepy cartoons. The children's Little Bear, Franklin, dude, Arthur. These were the good times, bro. If you were born in that era, if you came up in that era, how can you not look back and feel nostalgia. When you think about ordering a Pizza Hut pizza and going to check out videos at Blockbuster or Hastings and just getting to walk around in there. You get to maybe play a little bit of PlayStation on their little demo game console. Fuck, even like shopping. Like you think about the mall back then versus the mall now, it fucking sucks. You think about even going to Walmart was a different experience. It actually makes me kind of sad. Like, it actually breaks my heart to think about what we had and what we no longer have. You had Jackass on TV. You had, and when MTV was real music television. Obviously, I just said Jackass, but we still had music on there. Now it's like, and also it was great to grow up in that era because you had technology, you had, like, the internet, but it wasn't what it is now. It wasn't the poison and the brain rot that it is now. You had, like, cell phones. You had the ability to have a cell phone. We had great video games. Fucking think about, like, Halo and just some of the, like, the old school Xbox and the PS2. Dude, Twisted Metal, Crash Bandicoot. Video games were at its peak. I don't give a fuck what any of these all video games are anymore is Call of Duty and Fortnite. Those don't hold a goddamn candle to what we had in the 90s and the 2000s. Not even fucking close. It is no Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. No. You will never convince me otherwise. And gaming is so big and whatever. You don't even understand Mario 64. You don't get it. It crushes me to look at what we have now. They've sucked all the life and all the color, all the ferocity that we had. Like I said, it was like very teenage angst and break the fucking rules. Now everybody's like, what? Follow the rules? Fuck that. That's shitty. That sucks. We're gonna go eat at the boring McDonald's and watch Netflix, and we can't even go to a Pizza Hut and drink from the red cups at the buffet. No, we have to order, and the Pizza Hut sucks now. The pizza fucking is gross. We don't even get good pizza from Pizza Hut. Everything sucks now. And what? You're gonna turn on Netflix and watch what? Fucking Stranger Things? I'm sure people like Stranger Things, and I'm sure it's just fine and dandy. But it ain't Friends! It ain't Seinfeld! You didn't get those same awesome shows that we had back then. God damn. I feel like nostalgia is just meant to break your spirit. You know what I mean? Like, and you know what? I'm sure adults in the 90s looked back at, like, the 70s and thought the same shit I'm thinking. You know what I mean? You're only a product of your era. You know what I'm saying? But at least when you were an adult in the 90s, while you may have missed the 70s, while you may have, like, felt nostalgia for the 70s or the 60s, and you're growing up in, like, you're an adult in the 90s or the 2000s, at least you still had good shit. You might not have liked it as much as you liked the stuff that you grew up with, but at least it was still pretty fucking good. Like now, bro, there's nothing. That's why sports are my life, because that's one thing that just doesn't change. I mean, granted, they've pussified most sports to death, but it still is like the only thing that's entertaining and real. Everything else is just boring. I can't remember the last time I found a band that was like I listened to a band that's a radio band or, you know, more on the mainstream side that was just like awesome. Because now there's just so much music out there that everybody has a niche thing, or like somebody's like, if you break through to the mainstream as a band anymore, most likely you're not very good. Like, I don't know what people are looking for. And maybe that's just me because rock isn't really in right now. It's a lot of country and hip hop and whatnot. That's kind of like what music is now, which, hey, dude, like I said, it fucking sucks. Stand by it. Bro, those nostalgia videos come on and it really, it fucking hits me in the heart. Like, I actually feel a certain way. And it's a lot of sadness. Because I'm like, I look at those and I'm like, man, we really did have it just so good. Just so good. And at least, if I'm looking at a silver lining, at least I was able to have that at some point. You know, do you know how shitty it would be to be born in like 2010? Or even if you were born in like 2005, because you missed out on most of the good shit still. Because by the time you're, 10, 12, going into your teenage years, it's already too late. You've already missed out on all the good shit. And then if I was that age looking back at the stuff we had in the 90s and early 2000s, I would have been like, bro, I was born in the wrong time. And I still think I was kind of born in the wrong time. I think I would have been, it would have been perfect if I was just born like 4 years earlier. If I would have been born in like 1989 or even 1990, like if that was the year I was born, 1989, that would have been perfect because I would have gotten to experience like all of it at its full. Do you know how awesome it would have been to be a teenager at like going into the millennium? I think I was fucking 6 years old. It would have been awesome to be like 10 or 11. Man. I love reminiscing and I hate it at the same time because it's a good feeling to like to just remember, but it's a terrible feeling to like just think about what we no longer have and the fact that everything today just sucks. Everything's very convenient. I will say that, like, the convenience we have in today's world is next to none. It just, what good is it? None of it's good. It doesn't matter. Ugh. Going off nostalgia, though, I'm thinking about my childhood and whatnot. What the fuck? Hang on, sorry. I should never look at my phone because. Okay, I'll answer those later. Thinking back to like being a child, like my childhood and whatnot, and reminiscing on all that, makes me think about my buddy Brad. He just went in and had his heart surgery. Everything went well. He went in yesterday, as of recording this. He went in yesterday and had his surgery. It was an 8-hour surgery down in Salt Lake City. This is the same friend of mine. Been on the show several times. And we helped raise some money for his operation and for, just flights and missing work, things like that. Because this was a life-saving operation that he needed to get done. Went in, 8-hour surgery. From what I understand, from what I've heard, everything went successful. He's in recovery now. He's got to be down there for probably like 8 to 10 days, I think. So he will be able to come back and be here for Christmas, which is awesome. And so thankful that everything went well. I'm so glad that he finally got the operation he needed. I'm glad that everything everything went well and everything smooth. But the day, so I knew that it was coming up because I knew it was in December. So I messaged his wife and I asked him, I was just like, hey, remind me again when Brad's surgery is. And the day I asked, she said, well, we're down here already. Tomorrow is the prep. And then the next day is the surgery. And I was like, oh shit. Like I totally didn't realize it was right then. I knew it was coming up. I just didn't know it was that close. And after I like had talked to her and after I'd gotten that information, it just like struck me. I'm like, I should call him tomorrow. Like I need to make sure I call him and be in touch with him before he goes into surgery. Just for support, obviously I want to make sure he knows I'm thinking about him and whatnot, and just send him my well wishes and hoping for everything to go well. But it like kind of hit me in that moment, like I need to make sure I call him, because what if things don't go well? Obviously you don't want to think about that, and you want to obviously hope everything goes great. But it's a pretty major surgery. Like heart surgery is no joke. Obviously they're down there for a reason. They traveled there for a reason, because they want to see the best and they want the best people working on him, and they have the best people working on him. But medical stuff and surgeries and things like that, you never know. So that realization was hard to think about. Like, just thinking about the fact that I need to call one of my best friends, and it could honestly potentially be the last time I get to talk to him. Now, thankfully, that wasn't the case. Thankfully, he's great. He's recovering. Obviously, that's everything we'd hoped for. But you can't help but think, there is a chance that this goes south, and I could lose my oldest friend that I've been friends with my whole life. And that's a hard thing to think about. Like, we're the same age. No, he's got 2 kids. So when I called him to give him my well wishes and to let him know I'm thinking about him and whatnot. And I'm like, I'm just staying in touch. But selfishly, I was calling him to make sure, like, if things didn't go poorly, like, I wouldn't want to regret not having talked to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't want to think about, oh my God, like, I never called him and I couldn't tell him that I loved him and that things like that. Like, I wanted to make sure he knew that before he went under for surgery. I wanted to make sure he knew that I was thinking about him and, like, that I care about him. And I know he knows that, but I needed to verbalize that and to have that and just to have a conversation with him, and just like, because you never know. Like, you never know when it's going to be your last. And I don't think we think about that nearly enough when we're having conversations with people, when we're seeing our friends and our family in person and getting to have good times with them. We don't think about, like, we're not conscious of the fact that it could be the last. And which is probably good. Like, you don't want to be always thinking about grim thoughts. In this situation, it's a little bit different because it's a medical procedure. So that thought certainly creeps into your head. But thankfully everything's good. He's in recovery and he'll be back home here soon. That was just it was a tough realization to come to, because I don't think about that all the time. And I think that's just a little bit of a lesson to learn. It's like, hey, we need to cherish the people we have, and we need to, like, be more charitable with our time. We need to allow ourselves the time to spend with our friends, even just to give them a call, just to keep in touch. Doesn't have to be an hour-long phone call. Call if you haven't seen somebody that you love in a long time, give them a call. You don't got to go out of your way to see them. Just how hard is it to pick up the phone and just give somebody a call? You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a little bit of a tough little just realization, I guess. Speaking of friends, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are back at their weird little press junkets because Wicked 2 is already out somehow, some way, for some reason. Like I said, speaking of shitty fucking movies and shitty pop culture that we have, these two fucking weirdos are out here stroking each other's fucking faces and holding hands and crying. Dude, we already did this. You know what I mean? It's like deja vu all over again. Like, you'd think after all the being made fun of and the amount of memes that were made of these two on the last press junket that they might have dialed it back a little bit this time around. Oh no. They went the opposite way. They decided to go even harder with it. You watch a compilation of these two, it is just the strangest interaction I've ever seen. For two, I don't care if you're friends or in a relationship or what the fuck, for two human beings to have with each other on camera, it's so performative and so just weird. And somebody made a good point that I saw, and it does beg the question. What the fuck happened on that set to make these two so overly emotional and so, like, distraught or whatever the fuck they are? Also, hey, would somebody please feed Ariana Grande? Can we get this chick a sandwich? Like, what the fuck is going on with her? Like, honest to God, and I'm not trying to be, like, rude or mean or wish any ill will on anybody by this. I think she might be dying. And maybe that's why they're both so hyper emotional and they're so, like, touchy-feely and interactive. She seems like she is dying. Remember Chadwick Boseman, the way he looked before he passed away? She is starting to look very similar. And maybe Cynthia Erivo knows this, and that's why they're, like, being so weird with each other. That would not shock me in the least to find out. I hope that's not the case. Either that or Cynthia Erivo is a legitimate witch and, like, took her fucking soul. Like, she took Ariana Grande's soul, and now this is the shell that we are left with. Is her little, like, side puppet. Because that wouldn't surprise me either. Something weird is going on between those two. That is a very weird dynamic. And that could just be because that's Hollywood nowadays. Also, let me just say this again. Now, this one might be coming out, like, this one might be me being mean and rude. So I'll just go ahead and admit that right here and there. I don't give a fuck how PC you are, how fucking libtarded you are, or how, like, you know, that's not appropriate to say. You cannot tell me, you can't look at me in the face and tell me Cynthia Erivo is not fucking weird looking. The bald head, the bright green eyeliner and lipstick, and the long fucking fingernails. Dude, she looks freaky. Like, she has a weird... It's not even just her look, it's her aura. It's her vibe. She is a weird person, and I don't give a fuck whose feelings I hurt. I don't care what if you're mad at that or what. It's the God's honest truth, and you fucking know it. I'm just speaking facts here. If you look at her and you're like, that's normal, you're fucking insane. No, that's not normal. And I don't care if that's if the reason she's that way is because it's theater kid energy or it's fucking because that's what Hollywood does to people. It makes them lose their fucking minds. and they turn into that. Whatever the case may be, you just can't tell me it's normal. You can't tell me she's not bizarre. And then the way they interact with each other is bizarre. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? If you come at me. And hey, listen, I'm not saying she can't be that way. She's more than in her right to be whoever she wants to be and dress and act however she wants. Doesn't make it any less weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plenty of people who are certainly allowed to do and act the way they want to act. Doesn't make it not weird. They're still being weird. They're within their right to do it. They're just weird. So, simple as that. Where are we at on time? Somebody just knocked on my door, I think. Pause. Ugh. Nope, it was just my new neighbors. I think they're maybe setting something. It's not, I heard knocking, but nobody was at my front door, so I don't know if they're doing some construction or something over there. But as I said, I got new neighbors, so I thought somebody was knocking on my door. Or maybe they're probably knocking on my door telling me to shut the fuck up because I'm over here yelling about Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. We'll be done with that. I'm good on that. Did y'all see? We'll close with this. Beautiful article came out just the other day about a little rascal, a little raccoon who broke into a liquor store and caused a whole lot of damage, knocking bottles off the shelves and just being a little rambunctious rascal. Well, obviously when the bottles start falling, the liquid comes out. And this little critter helped himself to a little treat. He was getting a little peckish and wanted to have a little sip of that liquid. And he was found face down on the bathroom floor, wasted drunk. And all I gotta say to that is, same, raccoon. Same. We are, you want to talk about spirit animal? That motherfucking raccoon, that's my spirit animal. Because most of the time, I end up face down on the bathroom floor after a nice night of some liquids. I just thought it was funny. Like, there's not a whole lot to dive into on that. But, yeah, it's the raccoon, the booze and... There's no rhymes there. There's nothing to rhyme there. Raccoon, booze, yeah, nothing. I got nothing for you. See, this is the process of trying to figure out how to make a witty title for the podcast, for the episode, because I got nothing for you right now. I'm guessing I'll name it something about nostalgia or something about like the 90s. But the booze coon, I don't know. I got nothing with the raccoon. But same. That's the spirit animal. Spirit animal might not be a bad name for the episode, I guess. We'll figure it out. We got time. All right. That's about all I got for you. Let me go ahead and give you my NFL picks for the week. Montana Grizzlies play South Dakota State. Bro, the Grizz got fucked on this bracket. Let me just say. Like, we have the hardest road to getting to the championship. And that sucks. But let's go NFL picks here real quick. I just made my picks today. Thursday night, obviously, will already have happened, but I have not. This is being recorded before that. I got Dallas beating Detroit. Dude, Detroit is just falling to pieces, and Dallas is coming on hard right now. Pause. Seattle over Atlanta. I still think Seattle's one of the best teams in the NFC. Cleveland over Tennessee. Cleveland's defense is great. Myles Garrett is going to break the record for the all-time sacks this year. No doubt about it. He might do it in this game because Tennessee sucks so much. Green Bay over Chicago. Chicago's doing a great job right now. I want Green Bay to win because, by the way, next weekend I will be flying to Denver to see the Broncos play the Packers in Denver. So I hope the Packers win this game because I want them to come in with a false sense of confidence, and then we just whoop some ass. Washington over Minnesota. I kept going earlier in the season. I kept going back and forth on the J.J. McCarthy thing. I was initially right. Okay, I took back my initial statement that I thought J.J. McCarthy was not good and that he was going to be a bust, and then I took it back. He's a fucking bust. The dude is terrible. I'm taking Miami over the Jets. Miami's doing pretty decent lately. Tampa Bay over New Orleans. Jacksonville over Indianapolis. That's a great game. Indianapolis, the spark is gone. Jacksonville's going to run away with the division now. Baltimore over Pittsburgh. Denver over Vegas. Of course, we need to win this because I couldn't stand to lose to the Raiders, first of all, but I think winning this locks us in for the division. So that's a huge game. Maybe not locks us in, but it's one step closer. Buffalo over Cincinnati. That'll be a great game. Rams over Cardinals. Texans over Kansas City. That's an interesting game. Houston has been hot, white hot. Their defense is on fire, and I think Kansas City just can't keep up with that defense. I think that defense is going to pick them apart. CJ Stroud, still don't believe in him, but I got Houston. Philadelphia, and then Monday night, I got Philadelphia over the Chargers. That's a big game for the Broncos, too, because if we beat Vegas, and then Houston and Philadelphia beat the Chargers and the Chiefs, I think that locks the division for us. I think we're guaranteed the division. So, those are the picks for the week. And that is the end of today's episode. Thank you all so much for joining me. Appreciate you if you stuck around to the end. Hope it was entertaining. Glad I got to get one out for you guys. Again, remember we got the toy run this weekend, so if you want to donate, please come out. Be charitable. And if not, if you don't want to donate, that's fine. Just be aware that we're going to be riding up Broadwater and 24th, so going to be some traffic jams. But yeah, be charitable. Be charitable with your time. Be charitable with your time, your money, your everything. You know, just be kind. That's enough. We can just be kind. And yeah. Don't forget, life's a garden. Dig it.